Brittany.
Hi, Rachel.
So, have you ever thought about running for office? Do you think you should? Is it a good idea? What do you think?
I wouldn't, but that's just me. That's just me. I think that there's a lot of different opinions and there's many different answers depending on who you are.
It definitely takes a certain personality type. I will say that I have run for office on 2 occasions.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I've actually helped with a couple of campaigns myself.
I've done that, yeah.
And, I am a small government person. And at first, it was a little bit difficult to think about being for small government and then being a part of government. And in fact, I was a part of government for 5 years when I worked for Ron Paul's office on Capitol Hill. So that was fun too. And my whole thinking about that is, if we're going to have people in government and people running for office and candidates and politicians, wouldn't it be better to have them be small government, personal responsibility type people? Somebody is going to fill that seat. Might as well be you.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And that's what I told myself when I ran for office.
What did you run for?
First I ran for State House in North Carolina as a libertarian.
Wait, I do remember this. That wasn't too long ago, right?
Oh, that was a long time ago.
School board? Where?
I ran for school board too. I'm getting there.
Okay.
But my first run for office was in 2003 for the 2004 election. So that's 20 years ago.
That was my first election, actually.
Oh, wow. Well, it's my first run for office. And I actually did pretty well. There was no Republican. It was a Democrat that had been in office unopposed for a long time. We lived in a very blue part of the country. So I thought, well, somebody needs to at least give people a choice. So I ran for office and I actually got 19%. So it's bad, but
the best. I've heard
it's not the worst.
I've heard of worse.
I did a little better my second time running for office, but and then I was in Ron Paul's office as part of the government for 2007 to 2013. And then I decided to run for school board during COVID because I wanted the schools.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, because I was upset that the schools were closed down in my part of North Carolina, and I wanted to do something to change it. And so I was part of a Republican slate. There were 5 of us for a 9-member school board. And we were trying to gain a majority so that we could reopen the schools and have schools be functional again. We didn't win. One of us got in. I got the second highest at 48%, which I was very proud of because I was in what you call a D plus 13. Now, what that means is the electorate it leaned Democrat by 13 percentage points.
Okay.
So to get 48% and almost win when I should have been kind of slaughtered, that was pretty good. Actually, I could show you my campaign sign that I made. I could, but maybe I will, maybe I won't. But anyway, it's not necessarily about my running for office. This is more about how to do it, how to decide to run. How do you know if you're a good fit? So there's a lot of questions that have to be answered. First of all, I would say, if you're a kid and you're thinking that someday you want to run for office, don't start off with president, okay? You want to start off small and local. Small and local is where, like, a lot of the really big decisions that really affect your life, that's where they happen. And also, it's a little bit of a testing ground for the different political
Get your toes
organizations.
wet kind of thing.
Yeah, it gets your toes wet. It's kind of baptism by fire, so to speak. The people in your community are testing you. They want to see how you react. Are you trustworthy? Do you do what you promise? And they also want to see, number one, can you raise money? Can you speak in public? Can you handle tricky situations that come up for a politician? Another thing you might want to do is you might want to try attending a few like local meetings, like school board meetings or county commissioner meetings or city council meetings. Or even you might go to your state legislature and just sit in and see what their sessions look like. So
I think almost everyone should do that just to understand how government works.
Yeah, you should do that. You should keep an eye on what they're doing because a lot of stuff happens in these very long, very boring sessions, and they sneak in a lot of stuff that maybe is not such a good idea, but the people that are in a position to push these things through, they have the patience to sit through meetings and write boring text and legalese. And I think if we're not willing to do the same, then we're kind of at their mercy, aren't we?
Yep.
So one thing that I think is very important if you're just getting started in politics is earned media. If you don't have a high net worth, like money network to raise a lot of money,
which most of us don't.
Many of us don't. You got to be clever as far as how to get eyeballs on your campaign and votes. So I think you gotta really meet the voter where they are. You got to know the issues that are important to your community and understand that you have to get votes from a majority of people in order to win. So you have to kind of craft your messaging in a strategic and honest way in order to reach people. And another important thing that you should do if you're thinking of running for office is you should volunteer for somebody who you believe in, a good politician. Find a good, honest politician around you that's running for school board or something like that, and volunteer. And they need volunteers, trust me. They need people to put out signs, to knock on doors, to do all kinds of things. And if you can get in front of them and let them know that you're willing to work and learn, you can get some really amazing campaign experience that way. And that will tell you a lot about, is this really for me? And I hope it's for you. I hope it's for you because we need good people in there. We need to raise up, younger generations who are willing to take on leadership and do good things for the country. So what are your thoughts, Brittany?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think especially for people who really support small government, there's this mentality of, oh, don't become part of the problem, but somebody's going to do it, like you said. But it also takes all kinds, right? We need to make life as free as possible. We need people doing all sorts of different things, people maybe using their influence on social media, or people working for nonprofits, or people getting elected and actually making change. Look at people like Thomas Massey or, Rand Paul. Yeah. He was an eye doctor. He was not a politician. Or Mike Lee in Utah. There's a lot of things you can get involved with, even smaller than that. I think the most important things that happen are on our state and even city level. In fact, if you want to look at like the most egregious things that get passed that threaten liberty, sometimes it's the city councils. And that seems so small, but it's like these group of, I don't know how many people are on city councils, but 10 people who are calling all the shots. And because nobody thinks to get involved in like small city government, they get away with it all the time because nobody's there. Yeah. Nobody's like, oh, I want to go sit through a city council meeting. But that's where a lot of the action is. If you can get on zoning boards, do it, because zoning boards are also one of those places where like liberty goes to die. And it's so boring and tedious that people don't really think about being a part of it, but they exert their power so just forcefully, and they get so many bad things through that there's these things that we don't think of. And I think, like you said, with start small, when we think of becoming a part of government, we think like running for president or running for Congress. And it's like, those are great. We need people doing that. But on that small level, like that's where you can really make things change. That's where the real action is, even though it might not be on C-SPAN or, get you TV interviews or anything.
And like I said before, you don't just jump into running for Congress. You kind of come up through the ranks. That's typically how it's done. You do really well for your community on your city council, and then maybe you go to state government, state legislature, Senate, and then you do really well there. Maybe you get into leadership, and then maybe you go on to U.S. Congress or U.S. Senate or even president from there. But I mean, we're hearing a lot now about just how many people work for the government. Is it like 2 million? 2 million
people? Now that the Doge has come in, I don't know.
It's
a lot of people.
Hopefully it'll be a lot less, because I don't know that we need 2 million people working for the federal government. And Elon Musk doesn't think so either. But, I mean, the point being, those are not all elected positions. There's so much in government. There are so many seats to fill. And again, if liberty-minded people aren't filling those seats, somebody else is.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I think if you look at the campaign donations for federal workers, it's like so heavily Democratic. Well, it's because that mindset is drawn to that. So I think it's multifaceted. I think there's two sides to it. I think that mindset is drawn to government, and then the people that make the hiring decisions are looking for those people.
Yeah.
So I think if you've got a liberty mindset, whether you're conservative, libertarian, Republican, whatever, you got to really work hard to insert yourself and make sure that, if that's what you want to do, you got to be, I think, a little extra out there.
A little extra, as the kids say.
extra. You got to find those opportunities. And there's even some seats that are just kind of appointed, where they're just looking for somebody to raise their hand. And if you can be that person to raise your hand, and you show up and you do a good job, and you have work ethic, and you're honest and transparent, then, maybe that can get your foot in the door for something else. So I hope that we have a lot of young people in our audience that will consider running for office and filling those seats, because we need good people.
No, I think that's a great point. And, maybe start even smaller. If you go to school, maybe run for student body or something. Just get that experience. Sure. Volunteer at Rachel mentioned like a local campaign office. That's where I really, cut my teeth, the expression, was working for local politicians or candidates. And honestly, that was probably the more exciting of the campaigns I've worked on. It's fun. I definitely agree with you, Rachel. I encourage all of you to, if you're interested, to try it out. So we'll wrap it up there. Please, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast, share it with friends. And until next time, Rachel, we will talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.